17th season of Bass Talk Live with your hosts, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pingrack. BTL is brought to you by Lawrence, Bass Cat Boats, AFCO, Ducket Fishing, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Yamagatsu, The Bass Tank, and Denali Rods. BTL coming at you.
Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are remote this morning. Matthew and the man, Mr. James Watson, worldwide, right here from Moore, Oklahoma, Black Rifle Coffee, and the first franchise retail outlet here in Oklahoma and really nationwide. And James, man, dude, can't thank you enough for being here.
You bet.
Hey,
my pleasure.
If I press the right buttons and everything works, we're going to be golden today.
I thought it was going to blow up on us a little bit ago.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jeffries just had the remote. We were talking before we came here to do this remote. You know, we've done a number of remotes over the 12 or 13 years that I've been doing the show with Mark, and this is the most streamlined he's had it. But it's been a couple years since we've done a BTL remote.
It has been. I was trying to remember the last one we did, and I could not remember.
I don't remember your remotes being like the classic. And
it was either at a classic or when we did the barbecue one with Kenyon.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
That's when Kenyon Hill came in with no preparation and just an hour of his thoughts on life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
was very interesting.
Yeah.
It was.
Interesting.
Anyway, we want you to come by. If you're in the Oklahoma City area, as Matt and I have been talking about all week long, come by, join us. I'm going to give some stuff away. I got some discount cards. I got a hat.
We're giving the hat away?
Yeah.
I'm a little sore. That's a sore subject. That's a cool hat there, Mark.
All right. Very cool hat. I've got some other stuff that we're going to give away. But great location. And come by, see us. Come by, meet James. And
we've already got a crowd of bass fishing fans here.
Look at them.
Look at them. Look at them.
What are they drinking over there? I see cold coffee, tea, hot coffee.
I see a burrito. I see all sorts of things. How about this store? How neat is this store?
It's pretty cool, man. It really is. A little mix of, obviously, all the retail, the shirts, the hats, the coffee, and then very, very efficient method of how you go up and you order your coffee.
It is.
Get after it right there.
You know where they got that efficiency, right? Years and years of being in the service.
The military service.
Yes,
right.
I was telling James before we went live, so we've been here since like 7:30 this morning, right?
Actually, 7.
7 this morning and 9, so I've got to see everybody come in. There's a lot of dudes who've come in here to get coffee who could, like, kick my butt, like, in 5 seconds. Like, you just look at it and be like, yeah, you don't want to mess with me.
Well, this was funny,
like,
James.
A lot of, you know what I mean?
So there were a couple of guys sitting at that table right there.
Uh-huh.
And we were beginning to set up, and we were moving stuff around. Dude, they weren't moving. And you know what? I wasn't asking either.
Yeah. You said, I'll go over here and set up.
I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
Well,
you guys.
Veteran owned.
Yes.
And the founder and pretty much everybody involved with it.
Yep.
So a lot of support from the military, and there's a lot of military in Oklahoma too.
Yeah. You've got Tinker. You've got Altus Air Force Base. You have what is up in
Fort
Enid?
Sill?
How far
Fort
is
Sill? Is Lawton.
That's a little
it's about 70 miles, 75 miles.
Yep.
So a very large military service areas in the state of Oklahoma. But, man, thank you so much for the fans showing up.
You bet.
And, James, I want to talk, first subject, we want to get into how and really what has been the response with you getting involved with Black Rifle Coffee.
It's been really good. And, again, it's the veteran base. It's the me being prior service veteran myself, and Evan Hafer is the founder of Black Rifle Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't served or you haven't wore boots before, you may not see it. But I can guarantee you every service member can generally walk through Walmart or go down the boat ramp, and you can say, that guy served, that guy definitely did not serve. So there's a unwritten brotherhood or written brotherhood, however you want to say that, of people that you have served before. It's a different brotherhood as you could only see if you wore boots before.
Yeah, they love the outdoors too. Heavily involved in a lot of stuff that's going on in the bass fishing world, the hunting world.
Yep.
And a rapidly growing company.
Yes, they did a tremendous amount, and most of their business is online. This, like you said, is their first retail store they've opened. They opened one in Clarksville, which is right outside Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Clarksville, Tennessee. It's on the line there. That's a home of the 101st Airborne Division. You're going to see a lot more of these stores popping up, and you're going to probably see them around military installations. We got Tinker Air Force Base here real close. Fort Sill, 70 miles, like you said, away. But Evan's whole basis for this company was to be veteran-driven, veteran-owned, and operated, and he wants to employ as many veterans as he possibly can. That's his main mission, other than providing a good coffee to serve the great Americans.
Yeah, it's a great location here. Massive quantity of cars and people go through this little intersection because you've got major retail outlets. They're building a brand new Costco right down the street.
That never heard anything.
So there is.
Cut that turn lane right there. You will get pulled over.
That's because he's experienced it, James.
Yeah,
just a warning.
You're right down the road here.
Yeah, about a mile down the road. But
so
the bass fishing connection, from what I've been reading, he's just ate up with bass fishing.
He loves outdoors. I think they like shooting a little bit more than they like fishing. But my connection, believe it or not, was Swindle. Swindle got me in with Black Rifle, and that's how I got involved.
Yeah.
And so they want my boss Paul. They're building up the bass fishing team. They want to have a big foothold in our market, kind of like the other Folgers did back in the day with
who was on the Folgers team?
Well, Suggs.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That. You couldn't go through a weigh-in with those.
Yes.
Stop by the tent.
Stop by the Folgers tent.
We got hot coffee. It's like 98 degrees in July on the Red River.
We'll bathe you in it if you want some coffee.
Yeah.
We'll splash you as you come through weigh-in.
Yeah.
So,
well, a big thanks to Paul. Paul was a big reason of why we are here today. And I saw him at the Bassmaster Classic, and he's really excited about all the involvement that Black Rifle Coffee is going to get involved and continue to get involved in the bass fishing world. And they're doing a tremendous job supporting, obviously, all the armed forces. And I can't thank you enough for driving down and being here, dude.
I wasn't going to miss the opportunity.
What was it, about a 5-hour drive?
Yeah, it was 5. So it's a 10-hour round trip. But it was a great trip with the minor setback at the Hard Rock Casino last night.
Oh, he had a
debacle.
So I live like 5 minutes from the casino, right? And then Watson was like, "I got some free play. I'm going to stop by the casino." This is truncated version of it. Basically, he didn't get his free play. He missed out on his free play by no fault of James Watson. So I don't think the Hard Rock Hotel Casino is going to be your title sponsor.
No, they definitely.
Is that a fair assessment?
Definitely. I informed them as I was walking out, and I finally got one of my 2 free plays, and I slapped it down on a blackjack table there, and of course hit blackjack immediately.
Yeah.
They slid me my money, and then I told them they could go F themselves because I am done with this place. It was a harsh environment around me last night.
Yeah. Did you ask them? Do you know who you're dealing with right here?
I thought that they would immediately recognize this, but they obviously did not.
What you didn't realize was I thought when I walked in originally, because I just stopped by to say hi. I was there for about 45 minutes. I walked up to someone at the roulette table that was not James Watson, and I thought it'd be cool just to stand really close behind James, and then when he turned around, it was me.
Yeah,
and I'm standing really close behind this guy, and it occurs to me,
it's not me.
That is not James Watson. So I had.
Were you a little embarrassed?
Well, no, because he hadn't turned around yet, but I could tell he sensed me.
Yeah.
So I had to just like slowly slowly ease around, and then I found James.
Was you sniffing his hair?
I mean, I was like,
That's uncomfortable,
was
right
pretty
there.
That's a little
close
weird.
behind him.
That's a little weird. Sniffing hair?
No, I wasn't sniffing the hair. I was just standing behind him, and then he was going to turn around and be like, "Oh, what's up, Hanger?" And then we were going to have a good laugh about it until I realized that it wasn't.
The
James
laugh was
Lawson.
on you.
It was.
Very uncomfortable.
It was. I'm just
situation.
glad that you're able to take off time practicing from the Ozark BFLs to come down to more. I know you've been putting in
Oh,
your
dude, it's been the fun. I've had fun this year.
Yeah.
I told myself that over this tragic winter, unbelievable mess of a winter we had, it's like I got to do something different. I'm tired of not having fun.
So
'Cause
what'd
it
you
wasn't
do?
been fun.
What'd you do?
I made a vow to myself. One, when I'm home, I'm going to fish as often as I want to.
Okay.
I'm going to put down rods that aren't catching them and pick up something that I haven't
Well,
caught
that's a
them
good
on.
choice.
Haven't caught them on, and
Yeah.
quit forcing bass to do what I want them to do. I can do that in life with humans, but I cannot do it. with
So how's
bass.
that working out?
It's good. Have you seen his stats?
How's that working
first,
out, man?
second, and a third?
I got the Ozark Division BFL set up perfect. The regional, the main deal was the regionals on Norfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the closest I think that we've had a regional was 1985, and there was the Ozark Division regional was on Bull Shoals. So Norfolk is about as close as Bull Shoals. I said I want to make one of my I don't have very many things on my bucket list. Most of the things on my bucket list we can't talk about. All right. One of them is I want to fish an All-American.
Mm-hmm. They just had the All-American on
Yeah,
Douglas.
On Douglas, which I discussed to Mike Malone, sidebar here. The All-American, I believe the All-American should have its standalone week, not in conjunction with another FLW
We discussed
or
Okay,
MLS
yeah.
tournament.
We discussed
hang
this
on.
last week on BTL.
We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Is the glamour and do anglers get the accolades winning the All-American as they did in the 80s,
No.
90s, and early 2000s?
Absolutely 100% no.
Why
No.
is that? Why is
because it clashes with, I believe, with the tour level event, and it has for the last few years, and it takes away from those guys' glory. When you have Kevin Van Dam winning a BPT, and then you have I forgot who won the All-American this year. My buddy Roger Fitzpatrick was sitting in fifth.
that? Yeah.
When you have that event going on the same days, you can't share. Those guys don't get that exposure because, and I don't mean this in a pompous way, it's overshadowed by Kevin Van Dam.
And it wasn't live streamed or anything, was it?
I don't believe.
Was it, Mark?
I don't know.
I don't think it was.
I don't believe.
I mean, I would have watched that. Did any of you guys watch? Did you? How many? We got people here at Black
Yeah.
River. Did
Yeah.
you guys know the All-American was 2 weeks ago? Did you guys know the All-American was 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
Die-hard fishing fans.
Yeah.
But
And-
remember, we did that series on it where we talked with was it Shaw Grigsby, and even like Rick Clunt, Stephen Browning,
Yeah.
Jeff Reynolds is
Joe
fished in
Thomas.
it. Joe
Joe Thomas
Thomas. I
won
mean,
it.
it's launched a bunch of careers,
Yep.
and they can go back and point to that as the launching point of their career.
Jeremy Lawyer.
Yeah, when I started tournament fishing, every year, I was covering the Bassmaster Elite Series and the FLW Tour at the time, and the first thing I would do is look at the BFL schedule to see if I could get all of the Okie divisions in to try
Yeah.
to make that All-American.
That's right.
Because everybody who had been there always talked about what an amazing week it was. I mean, back then you even used their boats, but they
Yes.
fly you and your family in
It was
and all that.
big to do.
And when I made the regional there, I came 10 ounces away from making the All-American 2013, but one of the guys who was there with me was Jim Tutt.
Yep.
And Jim Tutt was fishing the BFLs because, I mean, Jim Tutt, he's been around forever. He's
Yep.
done it because he wanted to make the All-American.
Yep.
And that year, Todd Castledine was fishing the BFLs because he wanted to make the All-American.
Yep.
And, of course, he did it in his first year because he's Todd Castledine. But
Fat Tad.
but it was, I mean, that was the deal.
It is. It was.
And I'm not saying it's not still impressive and prestigious, but it's not.
And again, I know it's a logistical nightmare to schedule the Big Five, the BBT, the Toyota Series,
The Elite Series, the
all
Opens, and
BFLs.
every.
And then the other organization, all theirs, and then the TBFs and the BBTs, and I mean
Gas
everything,
stations, yeah.
everything else in between.
Everything's going to be,
Yeah. So
But dude, it's the All-American. That's your whole
It's
point.
All-American. It was before FLW bought.
Yeah.
Operation
It was one of the
Bass.
things that one of the things that in the transition from FLW to MLF that they kept.
Yeah.
Like they had to the way I understand it roundabout, they had to purchase the All-American. Like that was part of the deal was the All-American
I don't know.
with it
I didn't know that.
in a roundabout way.
But you're old enough to remember the Golden Blend and the Red Man.
Yeah.
And the All-American was big. But
Oh.
You still had the Bassmaster Classics, which
It was
won't be-
huge.
It was here's the way I'd say it. You had for a long time when I started it was the Classic, the Cup, and then the All-American.
Yep.
Like it was probably
Yep.
the third biggest.
Yeah. Yep. It used to be the second biggest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Before the Cup.
But amongst weekend warriors, it is the one they all want to make it to, because it's the only real opportunity they have to fish for a big money
Yeah.
tournament.
Sean Goodwin won the All-American. Did he not?
On the Ohio River, I believe. Did he
yeah.
not? Throwing
He's
a,
right here in Moore,
Throwing a
Oklahoma.
.5. RC
This year?
.5.
This year?
No,
No,
years
okay.
ago.
Like 3 or 4 years ago.
No,
Okay.
no, like long time ago. I
Even
thought it was
longer
like
than that?
2007, 2008.
Okay.
I wish we had a small device that kept track
Well,
of
you have your
stats. That you
phone.
could
Man,
just,
wouldn't that be phenomenal if we
You
had
have
some
your
mystical,
phone right in front of
mystical, magical powers to
Yeah.
pull it up on the
Jeffries
internet?
doesn't have his phone. He lost.
Yeah.
I have no idea where it is. I had to make a run back to the studio, and I believe that I left it there.
Well, nonetheless,
Yeah.
the Ozark division set up. I was going to be home. I liked the schedule with the exception of Truman. And I liked the fact that the North Fork was a regional. I said, here's my best chance of making an All-American. Let's go for this.
All right, we're going to dive into this a little bit.
2007.
Good job,
Here's when he
man.
won.
Sweet.
Well,
Why?
I mean, good
why?
job, Internet.
Let me ask you this: why do you think there are so many great anglers that come out of the Ozark regions?
I'd have to say, with the exception of grass, you've got every fishing, not opportunity, but every style of fishing that you would
Yeah.
want, with the exception of grass, you got in the Ozarks. Rock, clay, sand, mud, rivers, deep water, shallow water, clear, willow bushes, button bushes, bridges,
Yeah.
points, current, everything except grass is in the Ozarks.
So how'd you learn how to fish grass?
Paid my $5,000 entry fee and went to Okeechobee.
You spent a lot of time in Florida
Yeah, I went to Okeechobee.
and got a lot of confidence in a ribbit or a buzz toad.
What?
Don't you
That
do that a ton down there?
I did that a ton
Swimming
down there.
that swim bait, that
Yeah,
little swim
but
bait
I-
over the top.
But I also took a spinnerbait down there and mashed on them a spinnerbait, but most importantly a big jig.
What was
But
the first full grass lake you ever saw? I mean,
Okeechobee.
ever.
Yeah.
The monster.
Yeah.
So
What
you
about
went from no grass to Okeechobee.
Yes.
Wow. What about punching?
Punching, learned that at Okeechobee as well.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
With anybody or by your, like, I mean,
Well, the first real good lesson I got at Okeechobee, other than the 3 days of practice, where I could average about 9 pounds a day on the limit, the first day of a tournament, or might have been the second day of the tournament, the FLW Tour event, I drew a young kid, and I was flipping these pods of tulies out, or buggy whips out in the middle of a hydrilla here and there, and they might have been as big as this table or big as this corner here. And I was flipping my beaver into the middle of these like you would a bush.
Yeah.
All of a sudden my co-angler in the back bows up on about a 4.5 pounder. I go to the next one. He does it again. This one about a 5 pounder. I turned around and I looked at him. He was a local young kid, like very young,
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
I said, where you put, stop. That's it. Power pulled down. I said, show me where you're flipping that jig. He goes, you're screwing it all up. He says, you're flipping in the middle of it. He says, they spawn on the outside of these buggy whips. I said, okay. I troll a motor through and grind through, got up to the other one. By this time, I put on a medlock jig that he had on. 'Cause I
Yeah.
that's
bought
got
one.
that double
Yes.
deal because it doesn't
1
get caught in
ounce.
the reeds. It doesn't roll
Yes.
over. I remember
and it's
the first
1
time I
ounce
saw that.
big.
Yeah.
You know, and again, we're about this deep.
Yeah.
Sure enough, you know, I'm like, oh, this shit don't work for me, and I flipped it over there. 720. And I'm like, oh, that helps out. Put him in there, get rid of the little one.
Yeah.
Go up to the next one. This time I'm focused, and I flip it in there, and you just see this whole thing.
Expand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it has just a little bit matted up on the inside. And on the outside edge, I flipped my black jig, and it just blew up, and I was like, jerk, another 7+. Went to the next one.
Wait, is this your first day?
No, this is second day.
Second day, but
Yeah.
first time you've ever been on Okeechobee.
Yeah, the first day was a 9-pound limit or something like
Okay.
that. And the second day I had 23 pounds or something.
Wow.
And I learned right then and there. And then I expanded from there. I went back to Okeechobee and I fished. I was fishing the tour, don't get me wrong, but I flew down because I wanted more lessons. I flew down and fished as a co-angler. Call me a weirdo. I fished as a co-angler in the Everstart.
Mm-hmm.
And my first day draw was none other than Randall Tharp.
Oh my gosh.
So I got another lesson. So this is when I learned even more because
Yeah.
I sit there and I watch Randall flip reeds all day long, reed line.
Yeah.
And then after that, I learned that Okeechobee is, if you're in this section, you'll catch them on one of these 4 baits. If they're not there, go to another section, try one of these 4 baits. And that's how I expanded on the grass fishing deal.
Interesting.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
grass.
great. All right. So now, the way that you were brought up and the time, obviously, that you've spent in the Ozarks, is that a detriment sometimes? In other words, how do you get well-rounded based upon your travels all across the country to where you don't continue to refer back to what you feel you're good at based upon your Ozarks experience? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, that's the hard part about bass fishing. My dad taught me basically everything I knew about bass fishing, and half of what he taught me was terrible. It was. It was
Like what?
his way of fishing. Always.
What did he do?
Always search out the dirtiest water you can find, no matter where you're at.
Oh, geez.
I mean, there's still guys who do that.
That's what my dad did.
But there's still guys who do that.
That's right.
Who've made livings doing that.
That's right. But my dad never ventured to the clear water where the water was in the bushes there too.
Right.
But that's the vast majority of the Ozarks. Now, granted, I know there's dirty water there.
Yeah.
You know, up the Kings and
Up the
Truman
Kings and James River.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my dad would seek the very backs of all those things to find that color,
Was your
regardless
dad
of the
Tommy
time of the year.
Biffle?
Almost. You might as well have been. I feel like Tommy's my
Did
dad.
he catch him, though?
Yeah, got him. Yeah, and my dad was a spinnerbait and flipping guru, square bill,
Yeah.
balsa B3. They threw a B3 more than anybody I knew on the planet Earth. But he was always scared of the clear water, and I found out later in life, as I'm 3 years deep on tour, that them bass and getting them clear water bushes just as good. You just got to make bigger flips.
So what was the first thing you did when you got away from the dirty water, especially on Table Rock? What happened? Do you remember?
No,
Not really?
not really. I remember going up north and fishing Champlain as a co-angler in 2009, and that was a neat experience. Although I'd been stationed in Watertown or Fort Drum, New York, and got to fish Lake Ontario. Made one trip to the St. Lawrence, but I fished the inner lakes up there too. You know, I take that back. I did have grass experience because I was stationed at Fort Drum, Black Lake, New York,
Okay.
Lake Ontario. They had the grass, but all I ever did there was throw a spinnerbait. You know, that's all I knew.
So Jeffries and I have had a whole show that basically the discussion, and we've asked anglers, is it tougher for a northern angler to come south and catch them, or is it tougher for a southern angler to go north and catch them? But I want to flip that because of what we've been talking about. Is it tougher for an Ozark, an Oklahoma angler to go and learn grass, hydrilla, buggies, whatever, or is it tougher for a guy who's grown up in the grass to learn the Ozark Rock Lakes? Because I've had conversations with both of them, and it freaks the heck out of some of those grass guys to show up on Grand and have someone like you or me go, oh, dude, just fish rock transition and you'll know the pattern. And they get on it and they're like, it's all rock, dude. And you're like, no,
all the
it's
same.
totally different. And they're like, No.
It's all the same.
And then you go on a grass lake, and they're like, just flip grass edges, and you go out there, and you're like, well, the whole lake is a grass edge.
It's all the same.
So which is different?
Yeah.
Which is tougher?
With the exception of being Canadian. If you're a Canadian resident, it's easier for you to go everywhere and catch them.
Apparently.
Them guys are that good.
Yeah.
But for the rest, I think it's harder for guys in the Ozarks to go north.
Or to go grass.
To go grass, yeah. I think so.
Why?
Because we just don't have any at all to play with until you get on the road. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
now back in the day, Truman and Lake of the Ozarks both were loaded with grass.
Lake of the Ozarks was loaded with grass?
Yeah.
Like, how long ago was this?
Early 80s.
Hydrilla? Or milfoil, or what?
I don't know.
You
I just know
heard
it's grass.
stories?
Yeah. The lily pads had pads and grass. Not the whole lake, but parts of it. I mean, to the point where it was across the whole
Fishable.
creek. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like parts you'd be like, I was fishing with Terry Thomas a couple winter goes. We went to Lake of the Ozarks for fun. He said, believe it or not, he said, back in the early 80s, he said, you wouldn't be able to fish like this right here. He said, you have to sit out a little bit farther. And I'm like, why? And he said, because the lily pads and the grass is so thick here, you couldn't throw your bait.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm like, you're kidding me. He
Wow.
said, nope.
All right, man, you've mentioned it a couple of times now. How important to your career was fishing as a co-angler?
Oh, man. Very important.
Talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, I talked to, well, pre-COVID, I used to talk to a high school or college team about every 3 weeks. And I haven't very much spoke to any of them here lately. But
Yeah.
I tell this all the time. Finances is always an issue. Bass fishing's expensive. We all know that. I think it's important if you want to learn how to fish grass, and you want to learn how to fish different fisheries other than maybe your 3 or 4 lakes that you fish around the house, jump in the back of the boat. It costs you half as much,
Mm-hmm.
a quarter as much, yeah, to grab your rods and reels and put them in your Yugo and drive and throw your tackle bag in the back of a guy's boat and jump in. And even I think it's even more helpful if you marshal instead of fish. But you got guys like, oh man, I can't handle watching these guys fish and not wet a line myself. And I'm like, you know, I got plenty of time wetting lines. I want to learn something. The best learning experience I ever had in my entire life was in 2013. I was fishing the FLW Tour as a pro, and I marshaled 4 or 5 Bass Elites.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Everyone was like,
Yeah.
oh, what the heck are you doing here, Watson?
I'm
And you
learning.
said, I'm learning. You said, it's not illegal.
Nope. And
Great
I'm
point.
I'm going to lakes I've never been to
Yep.
before
I remember that.
because bass do act different at different lakes. And I'm going
Yeah.
to lakes I've never been to before, even a couple I have been to before.
Yeah.
And you know, I really didn't think anybody think I was being a leech. I wasn't there to learn spots. I was there to learn.
It's an opportunity that
It's an
you're taking
opportunity.
advantage of.
It takes $125. Would you pay $125 to go with a possibility of drawing and fishing a day with Van Dam and maybe the next day with Edwin? Or would
Yeah.
you rather spend $575 and just go get you a guide on that lake who's going to go drown some slick minnows?
So what?
Slicks, minnows.
No.
Wow.
I
Hey,
mean, think-
we've got some people out.
Yeah, we do.
Any of you ever been a observer or a co-angler or anything like that? Did you learn a lot? Yeah, see there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What not to do.
But you also know, learn, you're getting those guys' best stuff.
That's right, they're not holding back.
They're, you're watching them process
Yes.
information as it happens and make adjustments because they really, they don't care what's in the back of their boat. They care about the best, what they're bringing in that
That's
day.
right, that's
so
right.
it's totally different than going out with someone who knows the lake for a day or going out with a guide or something
right.
because these are guys who are making decisions based on past mistakes that they've made.
That's right.
Because when you say a lot of the decisions you make are based on past mistakes that you've made
Yeah.
or things that don't work out.
That's right.
And you're getting to see that process from someone who has it really streamlined.
Yep.
So you're not skipping a lot of steps because, I've watched and been in the boat with a lot of guys in tournaments and I still make them, but I feel like it allows you to identify and understand what's going on a lot quicker when you've seen someone else do it in the heat of competition.
That's right. You can analyze it.
Yeah.
If you're fishing, you can't analyze what he's doing or not doing, other than
Because I know a lot of times when I was watching the Elite Series and stuff, you only know what you know when you know it. I mean, how many times, like, if you look back 5 years ago, aren't there tournaments now that you're like, man, I wish I knew that 5 years ago on Okeechobee or 5 years ago on. But then 5 years before that, you're like, I know everything. I wish I knew that 5 years ago. So you're always improving.
Yeah.
As an angler,
happening.
but you just do the best you can at the time.
Is it okay? And I don't know what the rule is, and I've only been an observer one time, or a co-angler one time.
With Ish Monroe, you were the last co-angler
The
ever.
last co-angler. That was at Lake Oneida.
Okay.
Guess what lure he learned about then?
Frog.
Close. The Vixen.
The Vixen.
Oh, boy.
He's been obsessed ever since.
And
the
I
first
still
time
had
he
the-
ever had seen
I
it.
still had the Vixen that he gave me.
Lemon
that day.
ice.
It's probably got grooves in it.
It-
It's got
pretty-
lemon ice. That's when you could walk into a tackle store and buy it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
What
can't
can you
anymore.
get for that
Anyway,
plug?
have you ever had somebody that's been in the boat with you throughout your career that is either like taking pictures or taking video with their phone, or even worse, taking pictures of your graph? You ever had anybody do that?
No.
Have you ever heard of
That's
anybody
illegal.
doing
You
that?
can't like take handheld
No.
GPSs on, or I don't think you can even do that.
No, I never heard of anything like that.
Yeah.
Or not in my boat. But if they're in my boat, they won't want my spots. Trust me. So that crap don't happen to me. So, you know what the biggest take is from Marchland?
Yeah.
In the bigger tournaments, the biggest take I got from it, the best thing I got from it was, you realize that these guys put their pants on just like you do. They fill their boat up just like you do.
Yeah.
They tie their lures on just like you do. And then when they get to going down the bank and they haven't caught one in 20 minutes, they start thinking just like you do. What the hell? Am I going to, they start mumbling to themselves. And you realize that, wow, these guys go through the same trials and tribulations that I go through on a daily routine.
Yeah. Who would be your top 3 anglers ever from the Ozarks? Who would you say?
Top 3.
In no particular order.
Okay. Top 3.
You gotta knock out the obvious.
Terry Thomas.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Terry Thomas. Kelly Power. Power.
Rip.
Yep. And let me think.
Maybe I should go 5 because you're gonna.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're gonna leave some people out of
You
the
gotta
top
have.
3.
Do you have a Hibden in there?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
They were north of me.
Okay.
So I'm only going with the region that I grew up fishing.
Okay.
Which is Table Rock.
Which is Table Rock.
Yeah.
He's passed away now. Bobby Sullivan.
Yeah.
Another
Brower.
one.
Brower. Would a Brower be?
They fished in the big leagues, so I didn't. We knew
I
who
got
those
you.
guys were.
You're talking
but
about
we
guys
didn't
who
fish against
dominated.
them.
All right.
What about Wes Endicott?
Wes Endicott's a hammer.
Yeah.
Robbie Dodson. Robbie Dodson probably one of the best known guys there is in the bass fishing world. Multiple Forcewood
That's a great
Cup.
list, man. That really is. Yeah,
Forcewood
great
Cup.
list.
You know Marcus
Qualifier.
Sikora?
I know Marcus.
He's your out, dude. Marcus Sikora wears a vest better than anybody.
He and his hair.
He is.
His hair is so immaculate.
Visor and vest
Yes.
every time.
I'd burn my scalp. Where's a visor? There's a few.
But he's
visor
got the
guys.
hair for it.
He does have the hair that
He
never
has
gets
to
out of
stop.
place.
He has to stop before the weigh-in and gel it up right before he checks in.
He's got this little grooming box. that
There
he
has
carries.
to be a grooming
Yeah.
box. You know,
Got a
like Justin
mirror.
Lucas brushes his teeth right before he comes in, weigh in. A lot of
I
those
did not
guys
know-
carry
I did not know that.
toothpaste and stuff.
What?
Well, yeah.
He
Brushes his teeth.
There's a number of guys. I've seen
That's
Cliff
serious.
Ferguson
Do you do
it.
that, Matt?
No.
Sometimes I challenge myself not to brush my teeth for weeks on end,
Interesting.
and these guys brush it.
Before
Yeah.
the weigh-in?
Just joking.
I never realized that. That's a scoop right there, man. I
It
had
is.
no idea. What,
I
did
know
he
it.
tell you this?
No,
or
you
did
Did
you
see
you
see
him.
him?
witnessed it?
You see him down there.
More than once. This is just
Yeah.
one occasion.
No, it's a thing.
Oh, I got to check this out. You know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to come up with my own thing, like a courtesy. I'm going to do a courtesy wipe as I'm coming in. Just a one.
Come on, man.
What, right, guys? Why not? Why not just a courtesy wipe? And then I'll take it and I'll just throw it. It's a
Souvenir.
biodegradable, of course, earth friendly.
Oh, yeah.
And I just throw it out in the water and let it dissolve. That's how you know I've been there.
Jeez. Jeez.
Will that work, Jeffries?
No. No, not going to cut it. All right, I want to let everybody out there know we are going commercial free today due to the good folks here at Black Rifle Coffee. And we are remote. First time we've done a remote in a long, long time. And Matt, I'm going to shock you here in about 5 minutes what I'm going to do to the fine people that have showed up. I'm just waiting for the line to get a little thin.
I've seen it based on driving past every morning. It's going to be a while because the place is like
I know.
There's
jammed.
three empty chairs.
It's a little
in here.
thin. They're a little swamped right now, but I've got a surprise for the great folks that have come by to mingle with Worldwide. Now,
Yes.
where did the Worldwide thing come from? Because a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, well, Cody Meyer. Cody Meyer's good at giving people nicknames. Some that you are not allowed to air, but mine is.
Yeah.
So one day years ago, Cody Meyer pulls up to me and he goes, "Well, if it isn't James M.F. Watson," and M.F. stood for Mr. Fish, and that's what he said. And I said, he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just being worldwide." He says, "Yes, you are. You are worldwide." And that was it. It stuck. Boom, right there. JMFW. Worldwide.
Did you get it trademarked?
No, I should have.
I bet that's got to be trademarked already.
It's got to be. Let's not give people any ideas out there.
I believe that Fred Rambanis trademarked Boom Boom.
Yeah.
And when he went to trade
In that what format?
Yeah, when he went to trademark it, I mean, because that was after a boxer for knocking the lights out.
Freddie Boom Boom.
But he didn't have
Mancini.
it trademarked.
Yeah, but dang. Yep.
So Boom Boom is trademarked, I believe. I don't
By
know how
Rambanis?
long that lasts
I don't either. I don't know what the lifespan on trademarks is.
or how much it
I
cost to
couldn't tell
trademark
you.
it, but he went through the steps to get Boom Boom trademarked.
Yep, that's a good decision. That's marketing.
And then he sued the Black Eyed Peas. I'm just kidding.
he got partial royalties off their song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I learned through the real estate business, just guerrilla marketing. My franchise realty I own a realty executives franchise, real estate franchise, and they're really, really good about operating on teaching you how to do. We call it guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
Through little simple things. Back in the day when I was heavy into the real estate business, before online sales and all this Trulia and all this crap come on.
Yeah.
Yard signs. And if I had a house down the road here, I'd put a sign on this corner right here, and it'd have an arrow with my name on, Team Watson. And then when you got to that corner, I'd have another sign pointed that way. So you could basically fall out of bed, and one of my directional signs would point you to one of my listings.
Okay.
You couldn't sling a dead cat in Fort Leonard Wood, Waynesville, St. Robert area without hitting one of my signs.
And you'd be out there pounding them in.
Just all the time. I mean, seriously. And then I would do 7 years I was live on with a live read every morning on the #1 Nielsen rated radio station in the Fort Leonard Wood, Lake of the Ozarks area.
Really?
Yeah, they'd call me about 6:50 every morning, and sometimes we'd change it up and go on at 7:10. And they'd call me. Didn't matter where I was at. I could be at a tournament Monday through Friday. Call
They'd
me.
still call you.
Yeah, and we would talk mostly about nothing. Kind of like the show. Kind of like this show. You just ramble.
That's not true.
You just ramble on about bass fishing. Well, I'd ramble on about my night before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether it was at the strip club, or whether it was at my grandma's bar mitzvah. It didn't matter. We would talk about anything but real estate. And at the end of it, but before they were trying to get me off air, I'd say, "Oh, yeah, come and see me if you need your household realty. Get your phone number." Boom. And that's it. I did that for 7 straight years. It was very cost effective, very inexpensive compared to most things, and then never ran one radio spot.
Yeah.
Just that live read every morning.
Interesting.
So what year was it that you were like, holy cow, I'm not the real estate guy anymore. There's a bunch more people who know me as the fishing guy. Was there a moment?
2013's when I pulled the plug on the real estate business, brought my partner on, and said, "No more real estate. Send me my check. Here's my mailing address."
I've tried that with Jeffries. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
work.
Your check's
no.
still waiting.
Hey,
Lost in
on the
mail.
comments, I've got to ask you this.
Okay.
Kyle wants to know, do you remember when, let's see here. I wonder if Watson remembers when he asked to sign my baby at the Hartwell Classic Expo. And do you remember that? What's the scoop on that?
I don't know. I do remember one time asking somebody in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, here, move your mic up.
In the heat of the moment as they were walking by, I think I rendered an opportunity for him to have his baby signed.
Wait, you asked if you could sign his baby.
Kyle, you'll have to remind me if I ask you or if you ask me.
Yeah.
I don't quite remember.
He says you asked. At Lake Hartwell.
I guess that takes guerrilla marketing to the next level.
You take it to the next level.
All right.
So you don't show up with autograph cards in your pocket and a Sharpie, and then you realize, well, these guys aren't asking you for an autograph. When you find out they're not asking you, you just offer it to them anyway.
Well, he said that you were walking by his stroller, with the baby in the stroller. Does that ring a bell at all?
It had to be an opportunity.
I figured out a trick at this classic. So I probably signed, 3 or 4 autographs at this classic with BTL. But I knew that I wouldn't sign a bunch, so I intentionally showed up with a handful of Sharpies that barely had any ink left in them. So then every time you sign one, you're like, oh, man, I'm out. The Sharpie's done. So then that person thinks, holy cow, he's been signing autographs all day.
Oh, my gosh.
But you've only impacted, that.
Exactly. But,
Jeffries, yes.
But it grows the perception.
With that one person.
With that one person.
my
Holy
gosh.
cow, this guy's going through Sharpies. He's so popular.
You need to start building impressions with multiple people in one
But you see what I was doing with that?
You did. You're growing your brand one person at a time.
It's like the deal if there's someone in the middle and there's a bunch of people around him and they're hustling him through, you're
terrible.
like, that's an important guy.
It's a very important guy. You're just trying to impress your girlfriend.
All right, keep it clean.
You didn't know I did that?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah. He's just impressing his girlfriend.
Keep it clean. What's the craziest thing that you have signed? Really?
Oh, yeah.
Male or female?
More than females. more than once. More than
really?
Once. I did have a lady. We were shooting a select event on Washita a few years ago.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of people that come in as we were coming in from shooting and fishing, and a lady walks up to me and she's got this husband's about kind of like the guys that want to beat you up here.
Well, they didn't want to beat me up. They just could.
I misunderstood.
They're all very, very nice. I was just saying, there's a lot of jacked up military dudes that come in.
I totally misunderstood. I thought somebody.
No, it just came over and threatened me at the BTL.
Yeah, they just look at you and say, "I'm gonna beat you up."
Oh my God!
But they're the size of Jeffries, but with good balance.
Yeah, that's right.
Good point.
Well, this guy is giant, and he has this little bitty wife in front of him, and he's got this leash. I can't see the dog. Obviously, he got a dog.
I thought he was going somewhere
pulling
else.
behind him. And he hands a leash to his wife, and it's got a miniature dachshund on this leash, and she says, "Will you sign my wiener?"
No.
Yes. So she pulls the dog up, flips its belly over, and autograph her dog.
Oh my gosh, Watson.
So yeah, and a dock. I've autographed a dock. I autographed a bass on television one time. I got serious.
Got in trouble for that.
Yeah, I got in trouble for that. I was like, "Come on, guys."
Well, you're just driving past and someone's like, "Worldwide, will you sign my dog?"
No. I was spooning a boat dock in an event, and I mashed on them. It was a glory hole, and I mashed on them, and I went over and signed the dock.
Oh, unsolicited.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, man. I want to change it up a little bit. All right. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. They're all tied to the same thing, and then I'm going to get up, and I'm going to take care of these fine people that are here watching the show. All right? Fishing-wise, technique-wise, what has James Watson really got good at? What do you need to prove? What do you need to improve on? And what do you absolutely hate throwing these days?
Okay.
Got it?
Okay.
All right.
You're going to go take care.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I supposed to answer that now? Or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's like me and you now.
Okay.
We're running the show.
Perfect.
You can answer that, or we can just take it in a different direction.
He wants to get him some Black Rifle coffee or something.
All right, what do you do really well?
Wait, didn't he say what have you gotten better at?
I thought he said, what do you do really well, what do you need to improve on, and what do you absolutely hate doing?
Okay, what I do really well is sling a buzzbait, plopper, and a horny toad, and I'm usually good at picking which one of those 3 to throw. That's what I do well. That's probably my
Is
most
the
confident.
only way to figure that out to throw a bunch of them a long time without getting bites?
Yeah,
I mean, there's no other
pretty
way
much. Yeah,
to figure that out except on your own.
yeah. It all depends on bluegill, wind, and sun.
Combination of all 3.
Yeah, that's it.
Time of the year?
Time of the year, yes. That usually will dictate the bluegill. So that I feel like I'm about as good as anybody.
Not
determining.
shad. Bluegill. That's what you're.
Bluegill.
So you believe those fish?
Shad's a bonus, but I think the bluegill are the bigger. It's the biggest part of it. So
I mean, that's a 3-hour seminar.
yeah. So that and I've gotten a lot of confidence in throwing a drop shot these last few years.
Really?
Yes.
That's all I throw anymore.
Yeah, I'm
That and a Ned rig.
I've never caught a bass on a Ned rig. Not one. Not ever made a cast with a Ned rig.
Is that like a moral issue?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'll throw a drop shot in lieu of the Ned rig.
Really?
These last 2 years since I've been with Garmin, I couldn't tell you how many bass I've caught that I saw on my live scope that I wouldn't have ever even remotely threw at because I was fishing.
Yeah.
So
Not even looking for him. Just, there's one. Pick up the drop shot,
Yeah.
flip it out.
it's like, oh my God, he bit. And now it's almost expected.
When was the last time you threw a shaky head? I just had a conversation with another guy who's like, dude, he's like,
Saturday.
oh, really? So you still throw the shaky head?
No, I hardly ever throw a shaky
Oh.
head.
What was Saturday?
Saturday was a BFL on Truman.
Okay.
And I threw a Tackle HD stick worm, which is our Cinco,
I gotcha.
and I threw it on a 5/16 ounce screw lock head, and I pitched it on 20-pound line to shady spots and bluffs.
That's called
Because
flipping.
yes, because
That's not shaky head.
that's shaky head.
20-pound test?
Well, what's the line size got to do with
I'm
the
talking
bait?
like a 6-inch trick worm, 8-pound test on a
never
little
done that.
3/16, like shaky head worm.
Never done that.
Never?
Never.
Oh.
Drop shot.
Okay.
If I'm going to do that, I'll just throw a drop
All right,
shot.
so that's what you're really good
No,
at.
wait. Now let's go back to
Okay.
this. I threw a shaky head worm at Truman and fished 20th in that last BFL.
But you were
Just
flipping
because,
it.
yeah, but I'm still flip it, throw it, underhand it,
I guess
roll
okay.
cast it. It's a shaky head, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's on a 5/16 ounce screw lock head.
Yeah. But it's also Cinco bait, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's modified
Is it?
shaky head.
Okay, that's as close to shaky head fishing as I ever
Okay.
get. But the fishing sucked at Truman. It was terrible. It was bad. I couldn't catch them square billing. I couldn't catch any size flipping bushes, and there was a bazillion bushes in the water. And finally, I was like, man, just got on this kind of bluff run and started like it was spring, like if you were flipping a jig to the bank. I was flipping that shaky head worm
All right.
thingy.
I want to circle back to the buzzbait because I know you have your own buzzbait that's selling. It's selling like freaking crazy, isn't
It's
it?
it's selling 5 times better than we expected.
Okay, so then what? Does anybody remember what the 3 questions were we were supposed to ask Watson that
Yeah.
Mark had? What was the second one? Mark, what was the second question?
We did 2 of them. We did shaky head. And
No,
we did
that
the
was what
buzzbait.
you have confidence in.
No, that was the
What something that you think you're really good at. That was the first part of it.
one, and then something
Something that you
that you're getting.
yeah, something that you need to improve on.
Okay, wouldn't that be my drop shot and shaky head?
Oh, I thought you were
Fishing.
really good at that too.
No,
that's
I'm
something you wanna
improving.
get better.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so the buzzbait. While I've got you here, this has always cracked me up, and I'm gonna ask a guy who has his own signature series buzzbait out.
Yep.
Is it with HD?
Tackle HD.
Tackle HD.
Yep.
So we listen to buzzbaits, everything. That's the thing. Ooh, that buzzbait sounds good. That's good sounding buzzbait. Listen to that buzzbait. What? I mean,
Let's not get carried away.
do you care how a buzzbait sounds as opposed to how the fish eat it? You see what I'm saying? Like, why does it sound good to us? And what is your
There's two sounds to a buzzbait:
right?
soft or hard,
Okay.
loud or subtle.
Okay.
Those 2 ways. All right. When the wind's not blowing and the water
Thank you.
is plenty warm,
Plenty warm, as in
70 degrees or warmer,
okay.
You don't need a loud buzzbait.
So like right now.
Right now, slick, sunny. I don't want a head knock, what I call a head knocker. I don't want that clack, 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 clack. I don't want that. I want something that's subtle, more of a bubble and gurgle to it, or a squeak to it. So that's the way I approach it.
And then as it gets colder,
I want it to get louder.
And
as the fall starts going on, let's say here in September, I'll be in a not so loud buzzbait, all right? And then as the water starts cooling off below 70, I'll go to head knocking. I'll take my same buzzbait, I'll press that blade down on that wire so that blade hits that head and clacks.
And then what percentage of the time do you think they eat a buzzbait out of pure reaction based on where they are in the water column? And what percentage of the time are they tracking it and believe it's prey and are eating it?
I don't know how to answer that.
But isn't there a difference? Can
No.
you tell? You don't feel like there's... What do you think they're hitting it for? Are they hitting it to eat it, or are they hitting it because it's going over their head making a noise?
I think they're hitting it because they're mad. It makes them mad. I really do. And they hit it just like they hit any other bait. They see it as an opportunity. Most bass, the way I've understood it, are opportunists.
Right.
It's not because they're hungry. They're gluttons.
So I've seen how you throw it on like Lake of the Ozarks, Table Rock, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like you'll have a concrete pillar back there, and you'll bring the buzzbait by boom.
Yep.
It'll hit it. So those fish, do they ever track it, or is it always hit it as you have to bring it over their head in order for them to get it to bite? You see what I'm saying?
Yes. A lot. No, I know what you're saying. I call shark it. I have a lot of bass shark that. They'll shark a wake bait. Probably more than
But
they will
they're getting behind it and track it.
Yeah, they'll get behind it and track it. Or you'll see them run off the bank after it and get behind it. Or most of the time you'll see them, they'll come out the side of it.
Because my thing, and when I'm throwing a buzzbait or a plopper or whatever, is how far do you make your casts apart from each other? You're going down, a pea gravel bank with some docks on it. You're obviously going to make it on the laydowns. But, I mean, do you have to zhoo, or every 10 feet or every 5 feet? Or what's their...
I do not want to leave 1 foot of gap.
Really?
Yeah. So if I'm and plopping's the best scenario I can go tell you about. When I'm plopping, I want to throw that on my 7/8 rod. I want to throw it on 50 or 65 pound braid, and I'm going down plain bank.
Right.
I want to plop all the way to the boat. I want to make sure my next cast happens way out there because it's a clear water situation, and I want it to almost intersect the boat where I splashed the cast before.
So there's an art to where you're casting this. You're not just going down there just slinging it.
No, you're slinging it as far as you possibly can, but you're not leaving any stretch of that bank. And of course, when you get to a target,
right,
then if you need a precise cast because of an angle, you want to make that roll cast to that thing there. But I'm always preaching about topwater fishing because the best topwater fishing, in my opinion, is in clear water.
Right.
And the best way to get a fish to commit to your bait is to make the furthest cast possible. And you give that bass that opportunity that you might land close to. He's over there and you land here. You give him that opportunity to get aroused and follow that bait. He'll shark it sometimes. Sometimes them fish will never commit and they just won't eat it. Mm-hmm. You can change colors. You can do all this stuff that you want. They're just not eating it that particular day. But you want to give them the longest cast possible, because once they start to see you, your odds of getting them to actually eat your bait, you know how we all get short-lined at times and we wish they would have hit us out there further? You want that fish to hit you out further.
So you have no problem going behind other people that are going down banks throwing topwaters. Like, will you look and be like, this guy's
too far out,
missed a ton of water and stuff?
Or he's throwing straight to the bank.
Because I'm thinking about that tournament in 2019 that was in the fall, and you smoked them. I think your buzzbait was in prototype mode. You caught a couple on a plopper. Oh. And I just remember we were fishing some stuff on Lake of the Ozarks. Yep. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's worldwide. And I pulled in, I was like, I want to fish this stretch. And I'm like, James Watson's there. And I saw you all day. Why 0 day 1? and you murdered them. And I came up to you after that tournament, and I said, how the hell did you do it? He said, on those stretches, right there. Throwing the same exact bait I was, and I was like, he knows how to fish at top water better than me. That's it. I got beat by someone who knew what they were, because I was fishing the same stretches.
Well, sometimes, too, you might not have been willing to scratch your boat up. I mean, you talk about Lake the Ozarks. If you're going down stretches of bank that's open, chances are 5 other guys have done that as well.
Right.
But if you're willing to go in between a dock that you can barely fit in between and make one cast and not even be able to make a cast over here because it's
spend
too
5 minutes
much
to make one cast.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I weighed in, I'll give you an example of that, the Toyota Series at Grand Lake this spring.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about getting that one cast. I fished this whole pocket, had a limit of fish. I'm coming out. There's this big, long boat dock, and you can't get anything in there. As I'm coming out of that boat, out of that cove, this guy bows up on one, goes in there and culls. Well, I just fished through there. I didn't catch one. This guy caught one behind me, which happens all the time. I said, God dang, I said, I just fished that whole stretch. And he says, well, this one didn't help me. He said, but the 4-pounder I lost coming into this cove on the point would have helped me big time. Well, I just turned the key off on boat because I was idling out. Turned it off. He keeps fishing. Well, I turn into this bank and I go back towards this long boat dock that you can't get behind. And there's 3 other boat docks like this. And you can barely fit your boat in between these docks.
Yeah.
I fit in between the 3rd dock. He's idle. He's gone. I didn't cut him off or nothing. He wouldn't have done this. I flipped in. I pushed myself in between these 2 docks. My coingler's got hold of the back of the dock there. And I can flip over this cable on this dock. And then there's 2 cables coming off this dock to my left. And there's a big old fat juicy log up here I'm eyeballing. And I'm like, I think I can get to that. So I flip. Then there's a gap here in front of your boat where there's no cables. I'm flipping. It's kind of bluffy and shelfy. Like I flip over the first cable. Whole time I'm just eyeballing this juicy fat log over here. I was like, this, he's gonna be there. I was like, 2 times I looked back. I said, you got that net? Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it ready. All right, bro. Then I got this gap where I make this flip over this cable. And I made my second flip over this cable about 5 foot away from the first flip. Whole time I'm eyeballing this juicy log. And flip. I feel my line go, oh. I look and it's going like this and I go, whack! And it goes. By this time I drifted back from the boat dock. And now I got my rod, no hand on a reel, my rod. And this fish jumping in this MC stall behind me. And it's absolutely the most giant bass I've caught on Grand Lake in my entire life. And I somehow managed to hit my trolling motor, get up there, get him going towards the bank. And I said, it's a big one. I said, get the net ready. You got one chance. Come up beside the cable and come up. And he barely got the head in the net and it weighed 8-1.
Oh, my gosh.
And the whole time I'm thinking, I can't wait to flip that juicy log right there. Even as I was putting that 8-pounder, my co-angler's like, golly, that's a giant bass. He said, how big is it? I said, it's no 7-pounder. I said, after 7 pounds, I don't know.
Yeah.
Put him in the live well, and the whole time I'm thinking, I'm going to catch a big one off this juicy. I just caught an 8-pounder. That's how good this log looked.
Was there one on it?
Yeah, I caught a 15-incher.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, but that shot,
Yeah.
I caught that bass because 9 out of 10 anglers
Right.
wouldn't have done that.
So here's the issue that 9 out of 10 anglers won't say, but goes through everyone's mind, because it goes through my mind. You're going to go back there, you're going to scratch your boat, whatever, and it goes, I don't know if I can get out of there. And then I've got docks back there, and I'm like in a tournament, and I'm like, I legitimately know I can get back there to make that cast, but I don't know how I'm going to get out.
You have to have an exit strategy.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't
like,
go in if you can't exit.
Have you ever gotten stuck, like to where you're like, we're wedged?
I've had to get out of the boat before, jump out of the boat and trim my motor up and push the back of my boat around. And now I don't do that anymore because I know now the limitations of my boat.
Yeah.
I'm always like nervous that I'm going to be hit. You know, like, I mean, I fish docks. I get behind and I'm not afraid of it.
Hey.
But there are times where I'm like, I would like to go back there. I know I can get my boat back there, but I have not been able to develop an exit strategy for it. So I just kind of let it go past.
One of the benefits of being a touring pro is the boat deals that we get. And in my contract with my boat deals, whether it was with White River Marine and now with the Doris family at Charger Boats, is at the end of the year, anything scratches and stuff like that, I'll take my boat in. They'll put new carpet in my boat. They'll fix any tears I might have in my seat, and they'll touch up any minor fiberglass problems that I have. So I will go in places knowing that at the end of the year, whoever buys my boat will get a brand new looking boat. You know, so there's consequences to the actions.
But you're still not running rebar fields on Ross Barnett.
No. But I always do manage to find that one fence post every year.
Yeah.
Somewhere to get the bottom of my boat, and there's a big long scratch from the very front to the very back of my boat on the bottom. And you can't get off. You can't get off of it. You know what I'm saying?
I hate that noise.
You're like, I'll do a rock list left, list
And
right,
you ask your
back
person,
up.
does that feel like metal?
Yes. I said
that's
that's
the worst
definitely
question.
metal. And then finally you get tired of messing with it. You just fire up the big motor and just plow off of it.
Oh.
Anyway, I learned a ton over the last 20 minutes, Mark.
Cool.
So what did you buy? Beverages for everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the nicest thing you've done all
I
night.
know.
He must
So
have walked into
if you
some
showed
money.
up, you can walk up to the counter, and I got it covered. All the BTL fans here can order a drink, whatever you want.
There you go, guys. Don't.
I'm being
Hey,
nice.
This
People
is a
say
first.
that I'm not nice.
This is a first in BTL history.
I'm not angry.
You ever thrown a pommy? It's kind of an Ozark.
A pommy.
A pommy, the spinnerbait. That's
No.
why Ken's here. He bought some. I got him. I was like, hey, this is an old school like spinnerbait that you can fish like a buzz bait. And then he messaged me. He's like, I'm bringing those things because I got 2 of them and they don't work.
No, I never heard of it. Now
Really?
the Ozark Flash,
Yeah.
Jerry McCutcheon spinnerbait that Trophy Bass makes, Tackle HD now represent that one.
Well, this one they stopped making it in like the 80s.
Yeah. Well, they stopped making Ozark Jerry McCutcheon
See it
spinnerbait
right
a long
there?
time ago. Yep.
There you
Look
have
at
it.
that
it
arm
is.
on the front.
Look at that.
We'll
It
get
looks
that.
like a nighttime bait.
We'll get that here in a minute. All right, I want to do this. I want to
Caught
get
my
some.
first bass in a tournament ever on Lake Shelbyville with a Zebco
History.
33 with Gorilla braid
Listen to
Nice.
this
and a
guy.
Browning Vectra 6.6 pistol grip.
That's all it took. Now look at you.
With a guy
Ruined your
with
life.
a guy named Bob Evans who had fished the All-American and was sponsored by the Bob Evans restaurant.
His name was Bob Evans?
Yeah.
Huh.
But he wasn't the Bob Evans.
No,
Okay.
but he ate there.
Interesting. All right, let's do this. I want to get to some of the questions
Okay.
on the comments. The first one that I have, and then we'll go
True
to it.
story.
Bob
I'm curious because I haven't seen one in a long time. Does it still say a touch of class on the back of the Charger boats?
If you have a Foxfire built,
Yeah.
yes,
It does.
yes,
What's
yeah.
a Foxfire?
but not the elite, not the.
Do you have it on your boat?
No,
You do not.
It does not. It put in with the best is under the Charger logo now.
Okay. Is that still a tagline with them?
Put in with the best.
So they removed a touch of class.
Well,
Or do they still have that? Is
they
it
still have that because you can still, if you wanted a 479 Foxfire
Yeah. You
Charger,
can get it on there.
If you still wanted the old Charger hulls, they
Yeah.
got them. They'll build you that boat,
Yeah.
and it will have.
Have you ever seen that, Matt?
Yeah, because Charger used to be a huge trail here in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A touch of class.
That's right. And then what they do, they hired me and eliminated the
And they,
touch of
yeah,
class.
they said, nope, we're done.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. I'm going to try to get through.
Yeah, I love
a number
questions.
of these.
I love questions.
Yeah,
Except
we didn't have
stupid
the instant
questions.
feedback pulled up. So,
I lost my stupid
I sometimes
place.
I get.
what's the one question that you just hate getting asked that you get asked all the time at all the fishing expos and stuff?
Well, why ain't you out there fishing?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, here. It just says, ask James about topwater fishing in dirty water. What advice would you give on that?
You probably do want a little louder bait in the dirty water.
Okay.
All right. And you want to get really super close to your targets, and you want to make multiple casts.
What's the best color in dirty water?
Black.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see here. I know somebody had the question on here, and I can't find it on your buzz baits.
Mm-hmm.
Skirts or plastic?
Okay. I I have a system that I don't question myself about, and I can't give you a scientific answer to that or COVID. All right, the system I have works well for me. In the springtime, I go with a white buzzbait and silver blade. I don't care what the water condition is. If it's super muddy, I might go with a black blade, which I don't think we make one, but I'll put one on. And I'll go with a white skirt up until about the start of summertime when the water gets like 75. Then I'll put a white toad on it, still with the silver blade. And then in September time frame, when the water is peaked out, I'll move away from white and I'll go to a black, and I'll throw a black skirt or a black toad. And then in the wintertime, I'll go with a black skirt in a gold blade. So on the dark days, I'll pick up a black with a gold blade throughout the year.
Okay.
On real super dark days.
Do you think you get more bites when you do it, or is it they get the bait better?
They just get the bait better because I don't give them very many options. They get white when I'm throwing it like this time of year.
Okay, another question. What color plopper, in clear water, and what size?
I very rarely throw the 90. Most of the time I'll throw the 130. That's the big one. 99% of the time I'm throwing the 130. And I keep that real simple too. White or bone and black or loon.
Right.
So,
You can go into this if you want or not. Yeah. Do you think you capitalize on the whopper plopper? I mean, you're James Watson. You've probably been asked about that a million times. Do you think if you could go back from the first time you threw it, from the first time you won it, would you go about the whole whopper plopper thing differently as JMFW worldwide from a business standpoint, or are you cool with it?
I'd do a few things different. Let me tell you, the first time I threw a plopper was in 2012 or 2013. I can't remember. Ish is at my house. He's backed into my garage. I got a big garage, plenty of room for his boat and mine. And we're in there on some nasty day, and I'm just looking through his tackle. He's looking through mine. Of course, he's got good tackle compared to me. And I'm like, hey, dude, what's this? It was a plopper. He said, that's a whopper plopper. And I said, you catch them on that? He said, yeah, I've caught lots of fish on that. And I said, never seen it. He says, probably won't. He said, we catch them out on the Delta and stuff like that. I said, can I have one? He said, yeah, here, take two. Give me two of them. This was like in September. A few weeks later, I went to Lake of the Ozarks, where your predominant bait is a buzzbait. Mm-hmm. All right? Buzzbait, spinnerbait, jig. I picked up this freaking plopper, and I absolutely caved their heads in on it. This is, again, 12 or 13.
And you made it famous in the fall of 2015. 15, so we're 3
Mashed
years
their
before.
heads in on it like stupid, like, oh, this is a super good buzzbait day. and I caught them on this thing, put it away in my box, and never pulled it out again for 3 years, 2 or 3 years.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
August of 2015, Robbie Dodson and I are on Table Rock, and we're just out there jacking around. And he's like, you got any baits we've never thrown before? So Robbie would do that every once in a while, because we learned a lot fishing on the road. And I said, yeah, I got one, because I could catch some fish on a horny toad. So 2013, I won a PAA on a horny toad.
Yeah.
Still can catch them on a horny toad. And he says, we got to find something different. I pulled this black plopper out of my box, tied it on, maybe made 10 casts, caught a 3-pounder. Maybe went 5 more yards, caught another 3-pounder. Maybe went 5 more seconds and caught another 4-pounder. Caught 27 bass over 3 pound that day. This was in August of 2015.
Wow.
27 bass over 3 pounds. They'd never seen it before in their life. And I told Rob, I said, this might come in handy in October in that Bass Open. I come to Wagner, Oklahoma, finished dead last, never weighed a bass in that Bass Open.
Did you throw it?
I threw it. No, not at Wagner. Went to Table Rock. I'm catching some on a wiggle wart. I could catch some flipping a little jig on boat docks, the norm, staple items. The toad bite was all right. I think I could, sustain a good limit, but not enough to catch it. The last day of practice, about 3 hours left, I thought, man, I better sample this plopper a little bit. They were really eating it in August. Picked it up. I threw it over, like, the first pocket I stopped in, I caught a 5 and a 4. And I just cut it off. I hit it deep, deep, deep down where nobody's staying at my house.
You still only had 2 at this point, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Deep down here where nobody, even when I'm at the house tying things on, guys are coming out and looking, and I'm thought, this might be a player. I put it back in there.
Have you talked to Ish? Does he know what's going on?
No, this was at a Bass Open at my house. He wasn't fishing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you didn't call him or anything and
No.
said, hey, man, that thing you gave me.
I fished this tournament, so I
Okay.
remember it.
All right.
No. So I tied it on. I have it ready. I throw a little bit in the morning, nothing. Catch a couple on a horny toad. Pick it up in the afternoon, and it was unbelievable. Lights out. I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is unbelievable. And the second day, and so I caught a decent bag. The second day, the wind did not blow one bit. I mean, it was glass. Drew Paul Benson cashing rods.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Paul at shows and everything throughout the years. But we actually got to fish together. And I'm throwing this, boy, I'm just burning the bank up this plopper, blah, blah, and I can't get a bite. And I'm like, screw this. I threw it down, picked up my black horny toad, whacked like 15 pounds. Paul's fishing behind me. I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, I can't better my bag. This is as good as it's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Paul, throw over there, you'll catch one. Paul, throw over there, you catch one. He makes a cast and his bait lane's over there. He'll watch this. I'll make fun of him. And I had this one bush, and I'm like, dude, you'll catch one. You'll catch one. If you can make this cast, you'll catch one out underneath that cable in that bush right there. And then he makes his cast and hits his bait over there. I said, you had your chance. Threw my horny toad over there, blasted a nice one. I was like, that helped out a little bit. And then the last day the wind blew. Never had a bite until maybe 12,
I remember that, but you were all in on it, weren't you?
Yeah, I was all in that day.
On the plopper.
And I had 3 for about 6 pounds at 12:30. And at 12:30, it was lights out. They started eating it.
So wasn't Rick Clun and Josh Bertrand throwing it by the end of the tournament? How did they?
And Wheeler.
Yeah, and Wheeler. How did they figure out that you were throwing a plopper, and how did they get them?
I have no earthly idea how those guys knew that, and I didn't.
So that wasn't a thing where you were like, hey, guys.
No.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I don't know how many hundreds of thousands they sold.
Yeah.
Within the next 4 months. They literally went from collecting dust at tackle stores to selling out.
But it wasn't a deal where you were you at the time, were you even with River to Sea?
No. And my only regret in all that matter was I got my spoon designed by them.
Right.
It took some time. My only regret was I did not get a multi-year contract from River to Sea. So they let everybody go except Ish and Murray here this year.
That's what I was saying, though. But, I mean, dude,
During
you
rough times.
sold a ton of those.
Son of
Whopper ploppers.
yeah.
I mean,
bazillion.
Yeah.
Kept waiting for a thank you from Larry Dahlberg.
No.
he was out there figure eighting for muskies, dude.
Dude.
Hey, speaking of the spoon, somebody wants to know, is the spoon going to come into play at the Lake of the Ozarks Super Tournament in September?
You know what? Lake of the Ozarks is usually the spoon's better in the summer when the water's the clearest. All right. I had one super good day on a tournament there, and it was televised. It was a select event, and just sometimes the water clarity hurts you there and on Grand Lake. If the water's super clear, and you find the right dock, this could go for any lake. The problem with Lake of the Ozarks is, let's go back to the spoon.
Okay.
The problem with Lake of the Ozarks is it's got so many big, good, deep docks. You have a hard time finding them. I mean, they're literally 17 identical, deep, 30-plus foot docks within eyesight. Go figure that out.
Let me say this. If you are not familiar with Lake of the Ozarks and do not know what it looks like when you're talking about dock fishing on Lake of the Ozarks, just Google Earth up.
Yeah.
Lake of the Ozarks and zoom in, except for anything way up the river
That's
or
right.
up that.
It's too
and
shallow.
It is legitimately
Overwhelming.
how many? 10,000?
At least.
More than that.
It's a bazillion.
The entire shore is docks.
Yes.
And marinas and big docks
Yeah.
and breakwalls and little docks, and then you walk into a pocket and there's 150 docks that are identical,
Yep. 2 stallers.
and they're
Yep.
6 feet apart.
Yeah. Yep.
The entire lake.
Lake of the Ozarks in September. I've had years too where the best bite you could get is on a swim jig around them shallow docks. Jason Christie won an Everstart there that time of year, flipping a little black worm around docks. I've had great success that time of year. Buzzbait, plopper, and a big jig, and most of them around docks.
Yeah.
And then they say fish the ones with brush, so then you start looking, everyone has dang Christmas trees hung from under the brush on every single dock and in between every single dock, and everyone thinks they're being sneaky, and they put one on one, and then the guy's like, I'm going to be sneaky and put one on the next one, so you've got all these docks with brush piles
They're all
around them.
loaded. Yep. So, but that, unfortunately this year we're not going to have a Toyota there in the fall. So we had it in the spring.
There's some people that want to go out to practice with you for that super tournament. So.
Oh, yeah? Well, it's probably the guys I'm competing against. Is one of them Marcus? Is Marcus on there? I want to go practice with Marcus.
No, a lot of people, I guess, are fishing in that super tournament.
Well, we had so the Ozark division was supposed to kick off at Table Rock in February, but it was too bad, so they moved it to the Table Rock. The third event was Table Rock, so they did back-to-back events. Yeah. So we went to Lake of the Ozarks first, then Table Rock on the same weekend, then Truman, and then the super tournament. We had 230 boats, which is a full field. They won't fish any more than that because it messes the points up. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So we had 230 boats at the first 3, and I think we had 200, close to 200, at Warsaw at Truman Lake this last weekend.
Wow.
So I think our division's probably cranking out the most boats, if I'm not mistaken, than any other division. There's 3 of us in the Ozark division this year that have won more than $12,000 in BFLs, and we've had 4 tournaments.
Wow.
3 of us. Andy Newcomb, Wesley Rogers, and myself.
Super counts for points?
I think it's double point.
So you're like all tied for the lead.
Wesley Rogers and I were tied for the lead up until Warsaw, and then I finished 20th and he finished 27th.
How many go to the All-American?
Top 6.
6 from each region.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask you one business question.
Okay.
Then we're going to get into a few other things. It was announced, I believe this week, that James Harden, of all people, was announced to the board of directors of Saks, the high-end department store. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me.
James Harden.
He's a
basketball player for the New Jersey or New York Nets or whatever, Brooklyn Nets, whatever
Retired.
they are. He's a player. He makes an enormous amount of money. I think this year he's going to make $35 million a year.
Yeah.
It's crazy that somebody who plays basketball professionally would be on a board of directors of a major retail store.
That's getting paid big bucks.
Yeah, that is primarily a basketball player. Anyway, in thinking of that in the James Harden situation, it got me thinking about bass fishing because that's kind of what I do. I look at what's going on in the world and make a comparison back to bass fishing. Who do you believe, an angler out there, that you feel has the business savviness to be on a board of directors for one of the large companies in this industry?
Any fisherman that
Yes. Who do you believe that would be?
Jimmy Houston.
Really?
Yeah. Hands down. Hands
Interesting.
Down. Yep. I think Jimmy Houston is the best business man there is in bass fishing to this day.
Been
Right
doing
now.
it a long time.
He's got her down. He's got it figured out.
Yeah.
I of all the people that I want to be like, and there's many I want to be like, Jimmy Houston's number 1. He's the smartest guy I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's weird. So many people in the media, when you ask, so many that's been in the media for quite some time, even some of the younger people that have had an opportunity to meet Jimmy and interview Jimmy or spend some time with Jimmy, that is the first individual that people say they enjoyed that interview or that time spent with Jimmy Houston.
Yep.
I mean, we said it. When he came in to our studio, it was epic.
Yep.
So-
Dude is, he's probably the reason we even have the business side of bass fishing. I mean, he knows how to work it. He knows how to use it. And he taught me a long, long time ago. He kind of took me under his wing. He didn't know me from Adam. And we hit it off in 2010. And he told me a long time ago, he said, you James, you can make a good living in the bass fishing world if you catch enough bass to stay in it. And he said, 2, if you always make people laugh. That's it. He said, you'll be just fine. And he said, you'll stick a lot more money in your pocket than some of them guys weighing in them bigger bags of bass.
Yeah, one of the things I'll never forget about Jimmy Houston is this is back.
He's still alive, folks, by the way. He's not dead.
Some of the people might remember
He was
this.
at the classic.
Dude, the tackle show that took place here in Oklahoma City back in the day was massive.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge. Everybody looked forward to the tackle show. And when Jimmy had, and I think he still has his store in
By 10 Killer?
in Cookson. Yeah.
Yeah.
I go in there all the time.
Jimmy
Well,
Marina.
he would have a massive area in this tackle show, the Oklahoma City tackle show. And I remember watching him bring in just box after case. And I was like, that's Jimmy Houston. What is he doing carrying those boxes? Sweat coming off him, and it's freaking cold because it was always in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And Jimmy just kept bringing in those boxes, and I kind of grabbed one and started helping him. And that was my first conversation that I ever had with Jimmy Houston, was helping him move those boxes.
I thought your first conversation was when you were with UPS.
Oh, yeah, but that wasn't
You haven't
fishing
heard
related.
that, have you?
That
Jimmy
was not
Houston
fishing.
just gave Mark, speaking of business, he gave Mark
it was
the
bad,
business.
dude.
Give him the light you up.
He got some, and this was 1988.
Okay.
All right. And
Is that the Carter administration?
No, that's Reagan.
Reagan?
yeah. And he got some damaged packages,
Carter's
and
the
I had
70s.
to go by and inspect those packages. And because of the way that they were packed, it was part of my responsibility to save the company money.
Yeah.
It's like, well, Mr. Houston, I didn't even call him Jimmy then.
Yeah.
The package wasn't packed correctly. What? And I denied his claim, and it got ugly, and
You could have run bass fishing.
it was,
You could have been the demise of
it was
our
not
bass fishing
pleasant.
heritage. Good
Dude,
Lord.
that's a tough job.
I bet.
Denying claims to the man, and then later as I got more and
talk
more
to
into fishing.
Talk to Hard Rock Casino about denying claims.
Well, yeah, but you did not state that you were worldwide.
No, but I told them what I thought. I didn't hold back.
Yeah.
There wasn't any kids around.
Yeah.
So, but Jimmy, you know what? There's a lot of there's a lot of good business people in the bass fishing business.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of anglers. I'll be honest with you. All they really care about is fishing.
Yeah.
They're my favorites
Yeah.
because they really don't take any money away from the business guys.
All right, man. We're not going to drill down too far on this, but a number of people do want to know the decision that you made to go the MLF route and all the opportunities that you had out there. Can you talk a little bit about that? And are you also in the best position from a career standpoint, do you feel? And basically, did you have a choice, and still do you have a choice to fish whatever you want to fish?
Okay, I'll answer your last question. No, I don't have a choice to fish anything else. I was fishing the FLW Tour. I bought in on the selects, the Major League Fishing cut. The shows were doing so good, they had an opportunity to make more sales, but not an opportunity for their anglers to fish more cup events. So they brought the select anglers on. They invited me as with the help of people like Mike McCullen, Ish, and Tommy Biffle. I was recommended to be a select angler. And 2 reasons. Because I'm good looking. And,
Oh, jeez.
And the second reason, because I had the money to do it. All right. And they knew I would want to jump at that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I bought in for that opportunity as a select angler. It was the best decision I ever made in my life. I was an FLW guy. I did all right from a sponsor standpoint, but that select changed my fishing career. Those those select shows or Major League Fishing shows put me really on the map. All right. FLW did a great job for me, but the icing was MLF. So I was a select angler, and when the concept of the Major League Fish and Bass Pro Tour, they didn't even have a name, I don't think, when the concept come up to have our own tour. I was one of the very few FLW guys that got invited to come fish because, and I know the only reason I did is because of my investment I made in the selects. And there was a couple of guys that I feel should have got invited because of their investment in the selects. But I got positive feedback on television and camera time, and that helped me. So when it all come up, I was nervous that I wasn't going to get invited to the Bass Pro Tour. I mean, to the point where I was like calling Rick Emmett, my boss at Bass Pro. I was like, "Hey, man, make sure you say something good about me." You know, and I would call Don Rux. I was pretty tight with Don Rux, still am. You know, I called Don, and Don said, "Calm down, let the process work. You'll be all right." But couldn't say, "Yeah, you're coming on." So that's how that all transpired. When they stood that up and they said, well, you can keep fishing the FLW tour, or you can come over here and fish our tour, and then they named off all the guys that were defecting from the elites. I was like, well, I'll take these eyeballs here. And so I took my invitation to the Bass Pro Tour or Major League Fishing. And I felt like I was part of that organization that helped build, you know, from a 30-minute show to an hour show to a 2-hour show. You know, I felt like I was one of the, 48 guys that built that platform.
Yeah.
So I was happy to take that invitation. Do I think I had a chance? I only have 17 bass events under my belt. Do I think I had a chance to pick up the phone, call Bruce Akins? I have his number on my phone. I think I could have called Bruce and maybe been one of them guys that, like Canterbury and Airy and them come over. I believe that Bruce would have got me in there. I believe that. But I never made that call. And they didn't call me.
The point that I wanted to make sure that everybody understand, and that I know, based upon some of the people that I have spoken with, obviously that choice was yours. And nobody was forcing you into a position, be it one way or another. This was totally what you felt, with no obligation, what you felt was right for you from a business standpoint, from a fishing standpoint, from a family standpoint, and that you had nothing that was binding you to this decision.
No.
In other words, you had a choice, and
That's
this
right.
was the choice that you made.
Yeah. It's a choice. Yeah.
All right.
And I'm solid with my choice. I'm still to this day glad for my choice. What people you see a lot of this hubbub. I'm one of them guys that I pretty much get along with everybody. There's just a couple of guys I just don't care too much for out here in the sport. And I get along, and I love all my fans. And there's some people out there that aren't fans of me because they don't like my wit. They think I'm, insult people and stuff like that. I might come off a little insulting until you get to know me a little bit. But I like to have a good time and party. All right. I believe that.
Okay.
I believe that the bass fishing world. I can't get enough of the bass fishing world. Now you guys watch other sports and talk other sports. I do not. Bass fishing's it. I'm not a tennis. Occasionally watch a football game, but I couldn't tell you who's in the SEC. I couldn't tell you any of that garbage. I just know bass fishing. And what we got out here right now still doesn't quench my thirst for bass fishing. The NPFL, I think that's a great thing. I'm glad that they stood up the NPFL. There's enough guys, and this is the way I look at bass fishing. There's enough guys that front up big money on the elites, how many's on there now? 90 or 100?
Over 100.
Okay. Okay. There's enough guys to pony up that kind of money and fish on that big platform. There's enough guys to fish 80 on the Bass Pro Tour. There's 150 guys that pony up to fish the Big Five, the old FLW Tour. Now there's 110 that come up and pony up. So there's obviously a need for the product out there, or there wouldn't be the NPFL, or there wouldn't be the Big Five.
Yeah.
There's not enough to quench my thirst. Now there's this big battle between Bass and MLF, and I understand their business. You know, they think that if one didn't exist, that they would absorb all that Mercury money and all that Ranger money and all that Bass Pro money. I get it. I get it. But the fact that there's this many different leagues, I love it. I think it's great. I just jump up and down enough over here, say, hey, I'm over here fishing.
Yeah. Which brings me to a question from the comments. Somebody wants to know, would you be interested in fishing the Opens?
Yes. If
schedule-wise.
Schedule-wise,
yeah.
That's the only thing that keeps me from – this is the only reason I don't want to fish every week, okay? Because I'm the type of guy that if I go to an event and I stub my toe real hard, and the next event coming up I stubbed my toe on 2 years ago real hard, I get that head game going, and I don't want to have stumble. And sometimes mentally before I ever get there, I've defeated myself. I'm that type of guy. So I don't pile on a ton of stuff. That's why I said this year I wanted to fish stuff around the house if it was conducive with my schedule, so that I'd feel good about myself. You know, and feel like it. Man, if I can catch them again around the house, maybe I can get on the road and catch them. That's how fishing goes for me.
All right, man. And I think that clears up a lot of questions that were being asked by a lot of the fans out there.
And I got one more. I'm the most humble guy out there. People say, why don't you fish the Bass Elites? Here's why I don't fish the Bass Elites. I can never qualify for the Bass Elites. I couldn't have qualified for the tour that I'm on because I'm never consistent enough in points to be in the top 3 or 5.
You are feast or famine.
That's it.
Why is that?
This is
because he throws a buzzbait, a plopper, and a toad.
Yep.
I mean, go back and look at that. Historically, if you rely a lot on topwater and covered water, it's not a.
Let's face it. There's guys sitting right out here right now that can outfish me day in and day out, but they got jobs, family, kids, college, all this other crap to take care of. At the age of 38, I retired from my real estate office, threw the keys to my partner, asked him if he would mail me my check every month so I could go out here and blow all the money I made in life.
But no, let's be honest though. You want to select, right?
Yeah.
You want to, because I've seen this photo before, and it's something that people don't realize. You want to select. You've won a Open. You've won an
invitational FLW.
An FLW invitations. You've won tournaments with all 3 major organizations. At the time when it is, there's not that many guys that could say that.
That's true.
I mean, that's
true, but then,
heck of an accomplishment.
Then I'm not very many guys can say they finished 180th out of a 150-man field.
Yeah, there's a lot. Pretty much everybody can.
I can say that twice a year in the big leagues. And you seriously, when I say this, I don't want to take away from my accomplishments by any means, but I'm also want to give credit to all the guys that want to be in my position. And I'm not bragging, if it wasn't for the fact that I was willing to gamble my money away in the highest form. You got 2 options when you walk into the casinos. You can sit at the $5 table, or you can sit at the $100 table. When it comes to bass fishing, I love sitting at both tables. Most guys can't sit but at one table. That's that $5 table.
Do you think that the vast majority of anglers on the BPT and really associated with MLF, really, that's obviously their choice? I mean, they have a choice on what they do, but they analyze and really look at what's best for their family and for their future. Is that a correct statement?
That is a correct statement. And also on the Major League Fishing, we get more of our input considered, if not completely acknowledged and put into operation than we would fishing the elites or fishing the FLW Tour. We seriously have more pull as anglers on whether we're going to fish for 2-pound fish or a 1.8.
Yeah.
Whether we're going to, go to a big venue, and we're trying to get to smaller venues, like a lake that will fish 40 boats,
Right.
versus Sam Rayburn. We're, seriously,
Right.
we got a 40-man field. Why are we not going to Pomme de Terre?
Yeah.
Why are we not going to Keystone?
Got to have cell service.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the only reason to keep us from
That's
going
it.
to some of those venues. We're going to get to go to these venues, hopefully in the near future, that the other big 100-plus man fields can't get to. Mm-hmm. But a lot of that, the fans don't know that. A lot of that has to do with the logistics of cell service and whether the community chamber has any money to put in to pony up to house all of us, to pay us to come to town.
Yeah.
Because the league makes money when we go to a venue. It's like,
Well,
man,
that's
why
with
do-
any organization.
Yeah. Why do
Yeah,
we keep
that's so
going?
different.
Why do we keep going here? Well, we keep going there because that town calls us up and says, "Hey, man, you want some of our money?"
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, thanks for
Gorge, Texas.
Yeah,
exactly.
Thanks for saying that. Seriously.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that people could really reflect on what you said when they start to lean one way or lean the other or whatever. Dude, that was the truth
I can't.
right there. You
What
know?
I don't understand is people's hatred for a league. I'm like, many times sometimes I just get to my point where I can't take it anymore, and I have to say something back to somebody. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, dude, do you hate me? I said, you follow me, you like all my stuff, but all of a sudden, because I'm in this league that you can't stand, do you honestly hate all of us bass fishermen? Oh man, I didn't mean that direct. I was like, don't. It's bass fishing. Don't you like to see me jerk on one just as good as you like to see Matt Airy jerk on one?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Again, I don't understand. Why can't you watch both?
Yeah.
Because it's all they're two different organizations, but the platform and the well, I much rather see them catch 5 big ones. Well, I caught 5 big ones at Chickamauga the other day. I had 5 for 17 pounds because I didn't catch 6 2-pounders.
Yeah.
I caught 5 that day, and they weighed 17 pounds. I caught giants at other lakes. You take my best 5. Well, we want to see weigh-ins. I understand that. We don't have a weigh-in. There's a reason we're going in the direction of catch, weigh, release, that the organization, as anglers, feel like we'd like to see it go. We're not saying you got to get rid of the way we've been doing it for 100 years. By no means. We just, this is our format. It's different. It's different when you go to catch all you can catch versus going to get 5 to 7 bites a day. And it's I think it's fun to watch these guys on our live versus a 5-fish live.
Hey, it was cool. It was cool watching Kevin.
Wasn't it? Just
Doing what he did.
Railroaded them.
Yeah.
And then when it was done,
Great.
how long did he go and didn't catch one? Had to sweat it out while Lambert did that.
Yeah. No, you're right. All right. Speaking of different, what are your thoughts about time-wise where you guys get that late start and then you don't finish the final round until like 6 o'clock? In other words, you start maybe at 9:30 and then wrap things up around 6. What are your thoughts on that?
I liked it.
Really?
I did. It's really different, and trust me, when you do it for the first time, it's kind of awkward because you woke up at 4:30.
Are you going to do that on the next tournament? Probably. Yeah.
We got the SOE, and
Yeah.
we're 9:30 to 5:30 or something
Okay.
like. I mean, yeah. So that's going to happen.
But you like that though.
I do.
Yeah.
I do, and I mean, it's different. I enjoy it really, and to be honest with you, the reason we shifted gears on that, we're still trying things out on the Bass Pro Tour Major League Fishing. We're trying to see when do we get the most live views. Well, it usually happens about 9 o'clock in the morning. Very rarely do we get somebody that comes on at 7 o'clock in the morning. So we want to cater to that live time more, and then we get pushback from some of the other fans. It's like, man, why are they not taking off during the shad spawn or whatever? But I mean, we're trying to maximize our opportunities for eyeballs. That's what we're trying to do. So,
all right, man.
I'm not against our
the shad spawn.
I have nothing against the shad spawn. Nothing at all against the shad spawn. Neither does Steve Kennedy, unless there's a lake takeoff.
He just has something against lightning.
That's right.
Yeah, 2-hour delays. Yeah.
I'd like to see honestly, I'd like to see us have more fan interaction on the Bass Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see more of the Texas Toyota Bass Fest kind of deal where you're allowed to bring in a fish or two.
Why can't we have a night tournament?
No, absolutely I would quit fishing if it was.
But
night.
you guys are
You wouldn't
working
do
on
a
that.
night tournament on Lake of the Ozarks?
No, hell no.
Why?
Absolutely not. There's all sorts of bad things I'd rather do than go night fishing. I mean, terrible.
Yeah, me too.
Terrible
Really?
things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't stand it. Cannot stand it. There's nothing pleasant.
I'm with you on that one, man.
Nothing pleasant about night fishing in my book. I don't like here's what I tell people. I don't like fishing that much.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, for the people that are here, does anybody have a question for James? We're not going to be able to hear it. Well,
You don't have a boom
might,
mic?
but we can hear it. Yeah, anybody want to ask James anything?
What do you do on tournament days where you've done your practice and that evening it's a completely different weather pattern going into the next day? What's your confidence bait? What do you go to try to get out of the back?
Well,
But
if practice
what
is
is that? The question was,
The
what happens if you go through practice and then there's a massive weather change
Yep.
the night before the tournament?
Yep.
What do you do?
well, you always pray that weather change goes into your back pocket. You're hoping that your weather's really calm and slick during practice, and it might not be so good. And then you get that weather change that you're praying for that fits into your wheelhouse. So if it's into your wheelhouse, I go into that day with a lot of confidence and a lot of hope. That's happened a few times this year. We had it, I believe, at Travis. Walked into Travis on some weather that come in that was pleasant.
But what if you're smashing them? Is that your question? You're smashing them, and then it completely changes that night. Are you going to go out the next day and be like, I'm going to start the exact same way I was smashing them on, or am I going to change things up and completely go at 180 without even checking what I was catching them on?
I'll always go check it. Yeah, I always go check it. You have to. I mean, I don't think the only people I know that do differently are the greats like Brian Thrift and Ott Defoe, and they'll fire it up and they'll run 180 miles in the opposite direction.
Just abandon it.
Abandon it altogether. That's what makes them guys so great. That's why their tournament winnings is millions instead of $12.
Have you ever rolled up in an area and been like, it's totally different, I'm not going to catch them, but I'm going to check it, and we're just shocked that they were still there and still biting?
Yeah. Then it becomes a grinder.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, now instead of getting 20 bites, I believe I can get 6 or 7 bites, and you grind it on out. So this year we changed the rule too. We've lightened up on the Bass Pro Tour where we can actually talk to competition anglers, where we're allowed to,
Like on the water during the day?
Or back at the hotel?
back at the hotel. We're allowed to say, man, they were biting a frog pretty dang good, and that's the limit of it that we're allowed to go to. We're not allowed to say let's say on a lake that has 12 docks, man, I'm catching them really good on a jig on docks. Now you're giving too precise, or I'm catching them on every third bridge pier.
So
too
general
precise.
General conversation.
General conversation is allowed to have this year, and has made our what I feel a lot more pleasant to me. I'm allowed to go in. I stay with Mike and Stacy. I camp next to them because he'll loan me his truck to pull my boat in and out. And we have good conversations. I can actually ask a question about how can I be better if I did this differently. Mm-hmm. And so this year's been a lot more fun than the last 2 years.
All right. Anybody else out here? Anybody?
So besides being like a co-angler or a marshal or whatever, what's one thing that you just found out or somebody told you or
The question was, besides, which we talked about for a long time, marshaling or co-angling, what is something else that you've learned or said that's really helped you become a better angler, right?
Well, what I tell kids is just try to go fishing somewhere, whether it's wading the creek, fishing a farm pond, throwing a new bait or something like that. That will always make you a better fisherman, is spending that time fishing. And if you're not marshaling it, go I tell young people too, I said if you can't fish a BFL as a co-angler, join a bass club. And if you can, if you got a car, you join a bass club in Springfield, Missouri. They meet on the first Monday of every month. Well, the one in Joplin meets the first Thursday of every month. Join their bass club too. I said because it doesn't cost very much.
So time on the water.
Time on the water, and getting in the back of as many people's boat. You know who I think is the most smoothest operator in the business of bass fishing because I've been in his boat before? Takahiro.
Really?
Takahiro, by far.
I knew
Put a chatterbait between them two bags.
Really?
And not hit the side of the bag. Yeah.
I did not see that one
Yeah.
coming.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And as far as flipping, like big weight, jig, doesn't matter. Just pitching a bait.
It's crisp.
Just flawless, like no splash, like never hit the water.
All right. Anybody else? Oh, these people rock for showing
Yeah.
up.
How are you giving away this stuff?
Oh, I set it up. She took care of me.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, this stuff?
No, they can go up there and they can get anything to drink
no, how
that they
are we
want.
giving away the hat, the mug, and the coffee?
Oh.
That was all you.
Hey,
I don't know. What do you want to do, James?
I know you got these coupons right here. But you can get a discount code from me. It's worldwide, and it's 15% off. 5% better than this one.
Oh, these cards are useless now.
Useless.
Just take this card and
Well,
write
I had no
worldwide on
idea,
the back,
man.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm just saying. I mean, anybody
Black
out
Rifle.
here right now, anybody watching,
BlackRifleCoffeeCompany.com.
they go to Black Rifle Coffee. I think it's just Black Rifle Coffee.
I look it up. I
We'll
only
look
got
it up.
1% left because I got an
Lord.
iPhone 1.
Oh Lord, time to upgrade.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll give these away after we sign off because I'm sure the people out there have questions for James, and I'll just randomly give them away.
That'll
There
work.
you go.
All right.
Oh, I'm messing it up.
What is he
scared-
doing?
I'm scared to look at James's phone while
Oh.
he types in a website. Predictive text these days.
Anyway, hopefully, folks, we are going to be doing this.
BlackRifleCoffee.com.
BlackRifleCoffee.com. Use code worldwide
Worldwide.
and get
15% off your first
15%
purchase.
off
There you have it,
your
folks.
first purchase.
Yes.
So load up.
And then
Load
they
it up.
ship it to you.
Yeah. Hey, and their
They
T-shirts.
have cool stuff.
They do have cool stuff. Their T-shirts, they're a blend, so they're not 100% cotton like some of the other cheap stuff you might get thrown at you.
What is that? Is that like a military thing?
I don't know what that is. That's Blackbeard, but I don't understand that. Some of these things I don't understand. You got to remember, and when I was in the Army, I was a good soldier. But when you talk about Evan and Matt, you're talking about guys that's next level crap. Like,
Yeah.
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 I mean, the stuff that them guys did, the training that they went through, and a lot of soldiers and service members went through.
Yeah.
There's certain levels that, just like in any other job, we need people in the back washing dishes, and we need people outside killing people. Which one are you good at? I know you're good at washing dishes, but are you good at sneaking up on getting things done?
We got it.
So,
Well said there,
yeah.
James.
So on that note,
Yeah, so I was going to let everybody know, the plan is right now we will be back here at this location doing some remotes later this year. So we've had fun today. Appreciate everybody coming out. And tomorrow, big day, day 4 with Frank Scalish. And James, can't thank you enough. Who'd you say your boss was?
What?
Your Black Coffee Rifle?
Paul.
Oh,
Black
Paul.
Paul, yeah.
Yeah, got to thank Paul. Paul's the one
Yep.
that really initiated this, and his support
cool store.
of this. Yeah, very cool. And hopefully we're going to do it again. The plan is right now to do it again. And
What's
the staff here, fantastic. They've done a great job.
He's got one more thing.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
my favorite coffee product that they make,
What is it?
and I wouldn't have ever guessed this, is
Yeah.
their ready to go drinks in the can.
Which one?
The espresso with cream.
They give them away at the Opens.
What color is it?
That one right there.
They give them
Where?
away at the Opens. So
That
they
one
have
right
a
there.
cooler at all the opens.
Yeah.
Because
This
I'm
one right
fishing all
here?
the opens.
Yeah, I would have never have thought it. And
Right.
you guys are drinking like a cold coffee thing.
Yeah, that's what
Those
it is.
These things right here, and you'll find these at places
Those
like.
aren't ours. Don't open those.
No, I'm not
They're
going to
just
open
here.
it.
I didn't
You'll-
know go
Put it on
rogue
tap.
on us.
Put it
No,
on
no,
Matt.
no.
Matt's
Open
buying.
one. No.
No.
Open one up because I'm going to buy that.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to everybody that's here.
All right.
Okay.
These things are the
Are
best.
those even for sale?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're over there. They're for sale.
Jeez.
They are for sale. They're on the board up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But these things are awesome. 170 calories. If
Oh,
you
didn't
haven't
know the
tried a
nutritional
cold,
facts.
it's got protein in it, dude. All I look at is a protein.
How much?
7, I think.
Oh, if you know
Yeah,
the
isn't
number
that
much
enough?
amount of protein,
Better than a
7.
Better.
You're
than,
right.
Better than a Miller Lite. So that's some good stuff.
That's a
All right.
interesting comparison there, James. All right, dude, you rock. It's been a great show. We've went over 2 hours, and can't thank you enough for
Thank
coming
you.
down from Table Rock Lake
You
and
bet.
taking time for the fans and everybody that's watching and listening, folks. It's going to be a little bit before we get the replay out there. Got to go back to the studio to do that.
That's a lot of
But
wires.
great
See all these
stuff.
wires?
And
Look at all these wires.
Good Lord.
do what? What's wrong?
Look
I'm
at all
glad
the wires we
I'm
cut
glad
out.
I could just get in my truck and leave.
You know
No,
what he
man, you
did?
gotta
He'd
come to
go,
the house.
he'd go,
We're-
hey, see this, plug this in. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm doing stuff.
We're
My-
gonna go to lunch, man.
No. My mom's headed to my house right now. They bring everything from the garden, some big steaks out of the deep
Jeez.
freeze.
Uh,
I got priorities here, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey's gonna buy
Priorities.
energy drink.
Yeah, he's gonna. You are gonna buy me an energy drink.
Yeah, I am.
One of these.
You might need that on
Good
the
job,
way to
Mark.
the house.
Yeah, good job, Mark.
Yeah, man,
Good
great
setup,
show.
dude. Glad you nailed it too. Yeah, we got it all plugged in.
We got it.
Internet
Everything's
worked.
rolling. We were a little late, but to be expected the first time. But it's been fantastic.
Thanks
folks.
for these guys coming out.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We're gonna hook them up. And day 4 tomorrow
There
with
we go.
Frank. So everybody, make sure you check us out. Back to 8:30 Central Time tomorrow, and we will see what Frank has to say on day 4. All right, that's it. That's a wrap from right here in Moore, Oklahoma. Black Rifle Coffee. Make sure you check it out if you're in the area. That's it. We're out of here.